can't shoot them. Instead, go to the bedroom.
Yes.
Read us through a
Yes.
prayer.
I'm sorry, sir.
Okay.
Let us humble ourselves for the word of prayer. Our Father, we thank you for this gift of life. We thank you for the gift of friends. We thank you for the gift of our parents. We thank you for the gift of our teachers. Lord Father, in Jesus' name I pray.
Amen. I'm still going to request you to go. Still, I'm going to request you to leave that place. Get a more conducive environment for learning. Where you are is very noisy. I don't think you're going to learn from there. I want the next person who can remind us of what we looked at in the other lesson and try to make us remember. And then any other person who tried attempting the self-exercise that I had given. I had given you orally an exercise. For those who managed to do, you can also put up your hand and share with us. I hope you can hear me clearly. If you can hear me, remind me of what we looked at last week before we dive into this lesson. And yes, class, by show of hands. Anzoa, Benjamin, Bena, you're all quite. Rebecca, I'm going to ask you to speak, but I hope you're not in the same environment. Yes, Rebecca? Yes.
Yes, I'm in a silent room.
Okay, that is now much better.
I'm in a silent room.
I can now understand. Okay, take us through what we looked at in the last lesson and try to make sense of it.
I looked about a general report. Master, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
We looked about a general report and we say that a general report, okay. We looked about a general report and the general report involves investigating. And we read also about the components of a good investigative report.
Could you
have
take
a
us
title, in the introduction, term of reference, when I'm defining the components.
No, just I wanted you to give us list those components and then briefly tell us something about them.
Yes. Okay. A title.
What does the
title? It involves the receiver and the purpose of the report. An introduction. Master, pardon?
It's okay, continue.
An introduction.
Her network is a problem. Can we get another person to remind us of what we looked at last week? Grace Ann is saying she's not getting anything. Grace Ann, I think it's network. Any other person who can come and Anzoa, where is Anzoa? Can you hear me? At least you can just let us know if you can hear us. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello,
teacher.
class. Hello, class.
Okay.
This is Sharon. I'm new in this Zoom, but what I'm not getting is that as I can't see you, I'm only listening to your voices. Can you please direct me? Thank you.
That is the order. We don't look at our faces here. We just listen to our audios. This class, we do not show videos. So I'll be sharing my screen. What I'm doing as I'm waiting for the rest of the students to join is to ask us to remind ourselves of what we looked at in the previous lesson before we dive into this other lesson. That's what we are doing here. But I guess it is comfortable for someone to know what they are supposed to study. So I will display this. In a few
Thank you.
seconds. You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But this is a senior 3 class. For those who are just joining us, this is senior 3, and we are going to, this is our third lesson this week. This the second phase. Now some people are confused. Someone is saying I'm in P3. What are you doing here? Grace Ann, if you're in P3, then you are lost. This is senior 3, not P3. A good thing I've displayed exactly what it is. Those who are just joining us, Teacher Larry, and I hope to share with you. While in this class, we expect your microphones to be muted. And today, particularly, we are going to look at summary writing. This is the point where I'm going to ask us to tell me all the things you know about summary writing, those who have been able to. Who is this person, Techno? Techno IB16. Could you mute your microphone? Who? And rename yourself. Jovia, the same. You've been in this class for long. You know the rule. Mute your microphone. I don't like that feedback. Okay, so it's okay. Narusiva, I'll be waiting for you. Just make sure you. Jovia, what are you showing us? Could you mute your microphone? It's irritating. Okay, so back to summary writing. Anyone who has an idea about summary writing, this is in paper 2, section A. This is the very first number and it's compulsory. So all those with knowledge about summary writing, it's high time you put up your hand and you shared a lot that you know, and then I will also tell you what I know. Then we shall approach an example. So all those that are here and you have knowledge on summary writing, please put up your hand and share with us. I see a hand up, Narusiva.
Yes, specifically, it's like when you are given a long passage, but you make it short. And there are some keywords which you must put in to make it brief and simple to be understandable.
Okay, thank you. That is our contribution. I take on the next person, Alvin.
It is when like you're given a long passage and you're supposed to be using the main keywords in the passage to make it very short and brief.
Okay. So we're given a long passage and you make it brief. Thank you. Let me listen to Melissa.
Okay. In summary writing, they give us a passage. Yes, it's long, and they give us a topic in that passage. And when they give us that topic, you must read the passage and understand it. Then use the knowledge of the question given according to the words they want, approximately less by or more according to the question they've given you, but you must not.
Okay, network. You must not exceed the word limit. Thank you. Let me take such. No, that is Vironji. Vironji.
A summary must be written in one indented paragraph.
It must be written in an indented paragraph and one, okay? Vironji, is that all? You've run away? Grace Ann?
Yes, sir. I hope you're getting me.
Yes, you're
Hello,
white,
sir.
you're clear.
Yes, so a summary should have a title of the points they have told us to summarize. As we all hear that summary, it should be written in summarizing brief. It should be brief and should be written in one unit paragraph, not exceeding the word limit, and very, very brief. Thank you, sir. I'm done.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing. That was bright and brief and good. I will take JB.
Yes, sir.
Yes, any knowledge on summary writing?
Yeah, what I know about summary writing is that the first thing you do is read through the text being given, like around maybe 3 times to understand and to really, let me say, okay, to read through the article or the text being given to you to understand it more, and then later on you break the text down into sections so that you can make it manageable to understand according to the rule being given by according to what the examiner wants you to write about from the text. And then you identify the key points in the text that you're being given. And then obviously you put it down under the summary section, and then you write a fair copy, and then you're done.
Okay, we have good knowledge, all of us. At least I'm happy. I thought we had not started, but most of us have very good knowledge, and we are going to build on that knowledge. What I'm going to do is just a reminder, because most of you are already knowledgeable about this topic. So what I'm going to do is just to remind us of small basics, polishing your knowledge, because it's been long, you know? So I'm going to take you through, but I want to bring an analogy, not even an analogy, but let me ask a simple question. Have you in your life, for example, when you summarize your notes, those who make summaries of their history notes, what do you usually consider when you're making your summary? Anyone who has had that question, what do you do? What are the steps you follow? I see here, Sison. Tell us what you do when you're going to summarize.
When you're going to summarize your notes, you consider the main points, like the word which is easy for you. You know, when you read this word, you know it's all about this. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, I do not want to preempt something. Let me go to the next person. Thank you. Grace, what do you consider? What are your steps? What steps do you follow when you're going to write your summary? Okay. Sure.
Okay, so when I'm writing my summary, I choose the main points, like the real view, the real thing. Like,
What is
you
that?
know,
What
they
is
give
the
us
real
long
thing?
points. So for me, I chose that point, the real point.
We are failing to express ourselves grammatically. This is okay. We shall learn. Thank you, Grace. Mose.
We consider the heading. It can be written in the.
That is very important. Mose, sorry, I've muted. I thought I was muting Grace. Mose, come back.
We write the heading first.
First,
Then,
the heading of the topic you're going to summarize.
Yeah. Then it can be in small letters. As you start to write, you start with considering the topic of the heading, but you paragraph it. As you are reading, you mark the characters that they asked you, or the topic, what it was asking. You mark those ones. You can first make a rough copy and then a final copy.
Your background is too noisy, but thank you for sharing. Okay, the other person has run away. I thought Sacha's hand was up. Now, that takes me back to what I had come to teach today. I want you to all assume that we are now summarizing our notes. The first rule to summary usually is that you must know the title. You should have a title, your own title. If you're summarizing maybe the migration, the Bantu migration, then your heading should be the Bantu migration. You cannot summarize without a topic. A topic is a must. You must have, and that topic usually helps you to derive the heading, or your heading should be the topic. So just like we're going to summarize our notes, we shall borrow a lot of knowledge when we are writing those summaries of notes. That is the same knowledge we can put here. Of course, here we shall bow to grammatical rules, but I will be able to guide you through those rules. So let me go straight here. This is just a quotation I had for you, that good things take time to happen, so be patient with yourself. You can ponder on that later. So for me, I looked at the elements, the elements of a summary. What should it contain? I said the first thing you should have is the title. That title is derived from the question. Usually when we give you a long passage, like you all have the idea, you're given a very long passage. Oh, don't make it look negative that a long passage. You are simply given a passage. They will give you a question at the end of that passage that maybe in less than, or in not more than 100 words, summarize the causes of child abuse. Summarize the effects of COVID-19. So the topic there is the effects of COVID-19. That is our topic. So that topic should not miss in the title. In short, the title contains, or the title is derived from the question. That is what I've tried to guide you here. That it's derived from the question. And both the rough copy and the fair copy must have titles. Both the rough copy and the fair copy of summary must have titles. I'm simply reminding you, some of you were aware, others are just starting. So for the starters, please pay a good attention. The rough copy. This is best written as a paragraph, one single paragraph. It contains all ideas in a sketchy manner that will be organized for the final copy. So usually we start with, after the title, we usually make what we call a rough copy. A rough copy gives you a chance to play. It gives you a chance to have all your points. Sometimes you can copy and paste them the way they are on the passage. And then then you edit before transferring them to the fair copy. So here we have a rough copy. Of course, I'm not going to go to the other ones that all these things you should do after reading the passage. Someone already told us that we must read the passage till we understand what we are doing. You can only understand the question after reading the passage. Some people are bright enough or they are quick at grasping. For them, just 2 readings and they are good to go. For you, if you are not very good like that, please read as many times as possible. But of course, with time in your head, reminding you that time is a factor considered while doing exams. But for practice, read as many times as you can so that you understand the passage, because the questions are derived from the passage. So that means you as a student, you must read the passage as many times as you can. That's what I am asking of you. After that, you will now make a title based on the question. After making that title, now you are very sure that you now need to do a rough copy where you have chance to play with words. You can make as many mistakes as you can. The rough copy, as the English word is rough, indeed it's rough. It has ideas and so many phrases that you can cross out, that you can, mark and do what. So a rough copy, we do not really care what you do much in it, but it helps you to sharpen or to make a better, fair copy. You can make mistakes in a rough copy, but do not carry the same mistakes in the final copy or the fair copy. So after fair copy, we go to what we call a fair copy or final copy. Most times you'll find it called fair copy. It is an unorganized paragraph of the ideas asked for in the summary question. So here you're going to now make sure everything is at its best. There are no mistakes, there are no crossings, because they penalize you. So make sure you are very neat in your final copy or your fair copy. This is where you should not make a mistake, because we expected all those mistakes to remain in the rough copy. Some people are really annoying. Okay, let us continue. It must follow grammatical rules of proper sentences, spellings, punctuations. You must follow, in short, grammar rules here in this final copy, because we are marking you keenly to discover how you are coming up with those points. So that is what I can say about the final copy, that you must be neat. It must have everything correctly written. Let me go to the next sentence. The other key things to note in this, sorry about that. The other key things to note, paragraphing. We use indented paragraphs where we leave space from the margin. We make sure we leave space from the margin. So this is the only recommended paragraphing, what we call indented paragraphing. We use one paragraph even though we have 2 question aspects in the same question. Even if we have 2 aspects in one question, we still use one paragraph. Sometimes this is what I mean. They will tell you what in not more than 100 words, summarize the causes and effects of child labor. Now, those are 2 aspects, causes and effects, but still everything will be put in one paragraph. However, sometimes you can have 2 paragraphs if, and I repeat, you can only have 2 paragraphs if you have two separate questions. Question A, what are the causes? Summary in not more than 50 words or within 50 words, summarize the causes of child abuse, full stop. That was A. B, in not more than 50 words, summarize the effects of child abuse, full stop. Now, those will call for two summaries. That means you'll have two rough copies and two fair copies because there are two questions that are separate. In the first one, if the same two aspects are said, causes and effects are in the same question, you write one paragraph, only one indented paragraph. Even when you are switching to the cause, the effects, we still put them in the same paragraph. However, we organize them in such a way that you first give us the causes. After all the causes, then you can now bring in the effects. You don't jumble them. That is how you organize your summary for that part. Here, I am just giving you highlights. What is found in the first paragraph? First paragraph must start with the subject or the topic. The first paragraph, I repeat, must have the subject or the topic, i.e. Now, if they're asking you, what are the roles? You summarize the roles of a father in a family, or rather the roles of a father in an African setting. You say a father heads the family. That is the first one. So now heads the family is a role. That is now the subject or the topic. That is how we start our summaries. The first paragraph or the first sentence in that paragraph. It's actually not the first paragraph. The first sentence in a paragraph. The first sentence in a paragraph must contain the subject. That is what I'm going to encourage us to do. Always, otherwise, you will be penalized. Next, something to note. Avoid listing points as it will cost you marks, i.e., if they're asking for the roles of a parent, then you say, the following are the roles of a father. Whenever you use that statement, punctuation tells me that you're going to use a semicolon here. You'll be forced to use a semicolon or colon here. So avoid finding yourself using this in summary writing, because if you do, you will be listing your points and you will be marked. They mark the entire passage as a half. Remember, this passage is marked out of 20. This passage is marked out of 20. So you as a student, if already you're being marked out of a half, that means you only have 10. So the passage is usually out of 20 marks. And that's why most times you'll find that they want you to derive all the 20 marks. 20 points. You must make sure you have, so you must make sure you look for the maximum points in a passage. Do not duplicate points because you want to make 20. Only look for points in line with the question that you have been given. Okay, let me go to, just a minute. So we are done with that. Let me go to the next one. So, sorry. Lois, please mute your video. Let us not try being sneaky. Eventually, people who are being sneaky are not learning. Reload file. Okay, you let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, we can see.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can see, teacher.
What's the problem?
Yes, we can see it, teacher.
If one person says we can see, that means I can hear that person. Thank you. We can just stop there. I'm just having a little issues with my PC. Maybe as my PC is loading, let me stop sharing and go back afresh. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the number of words. Most times we are given a word limit. We are given what we call a word limit. They will tell you, they will give you a number of questions. And the nature of the question that is set at that point is the one you should be able to pay attention to. And that's what I wanted to share. Sometimes you're given a question like, in not more than 120 words, summarize the roles of a father. Summarize the roles of a father in an African society. Now, in such words, they want exactly, because they have told you in not more than, they want exactly 120. Then in other incidences, they tell you within 120 words, summarize the roles of a father in an African setting. When you're given such a question, it is the same question as saying in about 120 words. There, you have a chance to add. You have a chance to add 5 more words at least. You can be able to add 5 more words. That is the advantage you have with that one. So today I have a sample. Maybe before we read this passage, if anyone has a question to ask about summary, you can ask, or we read this passage. Then when we are doing it, you can ask your question as well. Those are the 2 ways we can handle this. So we have a passage here that I wanted us to try out. And in that passage, and rather in this passage, we can be able to learn how to summarize. First of all, the most important thing for me when I'm starting to teach summary writing is for a student to be able to pull out the required number of points. That is the most important thing for me, for a student to be able to pull out the required number of points. So I'm going to ask someone to read for us this passage. And usually, let me check here. I prefer us beginning with the question because of time. Always, I will prefer us to begin with the question so that you read knowing what the passage is about. So let me pick here someone to read for us. Alvin, are you there?
I'm there.
Okay, could you read for me that question?
In not more than 120 words, explain the roles played by the father. Teacher, remove the question.
Sorry. Is it back?
Yeah. In not more than 120 words, explain the roles Africa.
Your network, try to look for. Yes, so we're going to look at the roles played by the father and the girls in the African society. So Alvin, look for a good network area because you're going to read for us the entire passage.
Okay. Am I clear? Oh, am I clear now?
Fairly.
Yeah, I can hear you. Excuse me.
I'm not getting. Hello. What has been the problem? What has been the problem?
Let's wait for teacher Harry. Maybe he has a network problem, but I think it's going to be back soon. So let's please wait for him. Okay.
Guys, what's going on now?
Teacher is out.
No, the teacher has bad network.
Let's wait and see.
Gosh. So are we going to do that exercise? I don't get that thing very well.
Oh.
Like, guys, behave yourselves.
Me, I'm just asking, are we going to do that exercise?
Yes. Regular classroom.
Yes.
Yes. Mary K. Melissa.
I request Mr. Dumba, if Lois could be disciplined in a certain way, I don't know what kind of person that is. Please be respectful. And if you're not here intentionally to study, find your levels. I'm not very tolerant with certain people.
I'm really sorry, sir.
I would accept your apology if you meant it. So let us continue with our learning. I had a technical glitch, but that's how it is, but we can always get back. You can't begin playing for people such weird music. At least if you had a good music test, it would be, I understand, something good.
I was not playing music, sir. I'm sorry. It was not me.
Okay, fine. Now I've cooled down. I'm okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so back to our passage. I had a technical glitch. I'm trying to share. You let me know when you can see, and then we can have Alvin come back to read for us. Alvin, are you still there? Okay, if Alvin is not there,
Yes, teacher, I'm there.
Okay.
I can't see the question on the passage.
No, I'm done with, you are done with the question. Now we are going straight to the passage.
Okay. I start.
Please start.
The family is a basic unit of society, and it is the heart of African social systems. It's jealously guarded and protected by law in all African countries. The effectiveness of legal provisions, however, depends on the community in which it is operating and the various socio, economic, and political factors that interact in the community. Teacher, I can scroll. In most traditional African families, the father is the head of the family with unquestionable authority over his wife and children who have to obey his orders. He is the chief custodian of the family and ensures that it is secure. In certain countries, he not only decides what is to be done, but is involved in details such as shopping, even buying of clothes for his wife or wives, as the case may be. And you can scroll. And children and the father selecting a wife of his son from the same tribe and from the family that enjoys a similar status, or if possible, a higher one. In some tribal groups, the family of the wife to be demands order. Sometimes these practices ruin a family, since they involve go into dates in order to conform into the demands of the social customs of the tribe. Polygamy is a symbol of wealth and higher status among certain tribal groups and do persist in many parts of rural Africa despite legislations that do away with polygamy and institute monogamy. The main purpose of marriage in the tribal society is to get sons and daughters. The parents of the girls don't conceive that girls might do anything than marry, bear children, and manage the domestic chores of cooking for the family, keeping the house clean, and attending to other household activities. In consequence, girls received none or very little formal education from schools, through schools. The fact that bearing children is viewed as the primary vexation for girls, and that once married, they belong to their husband's family, leads to a situation where sons are referred to daughters. Having many sons, in fact, a prerequisite for lasting and happy marriages. Besides, the wife's wealth, beauty, or even social standing are to no avail if she is not a mother of many sons. A girl is accepted with reluctancy, and if she is not married early, there is a fear that she will be disgraced to the family. In rural Africa, there is so much land for the newly married couple to build a house next to a man's family and live under the the authority of the father. They take care of the orphan and sick within the extended patriarchal family. If a certain problem arose that was beyond the competence of the family, then the tribal chief and the leaders of the village will take over and solve it their own way. It's done.
Alvin, I said, what do you think is the meaning of the word role? For those who are listening in, what is the meaning of the word role?
The role is the main purpose of either a person or an object or something that is, as in the use of something.
It can be used.
It can be a
such
person.
what do you think, Mary? What do you think it could also mean?
For me, I think according to the passage, a role is maybe a responsibility.
Responsibility, that is true. Casper? Casper?
For me, I think maybe in the passage it means like duty of that person, eh? Like that.
In fact, that is the best answer. The duties of a father and the duties of the girl in an African tradition. So when you read this passage, what are some of those duties that you can derive? Let us begin from paragraph 1. For example, what are those duties that you can come up with? Casper, are you still on?
Yes, teacher.
But your network is shaky. Could you read for us the first paragraph and then we look out for the roles of a father? Because I want to teach you how we can extract a point.
Okay. The family is a basic unit of society, and it is the heart of African social systems. It is jealously guarded and protected by law in all African countries. The effectiveness of illegal provisions, however, depends on the community in which it is operating and the various social, economic, and political factors that interact in the community.
Now, is there any role that has been mentioned so far in paragraph 1? Yes, anyone who can tell us, is there any role that has been mentioned there? Benjamin?
No.
No.
So we realize in paragraph 1, they have not yet told us anything. They have simply defined what a family unit is. So even when you're reading, do not force points to come from a certain paragraph. Instead, read patiently as you wait. So let us have someone read the second paragraph. At least we derive like 2 to 3 points, and then we see how we can be able to derive points. Lois, your hand is up.
In most traditional African families, the father is the head of the family with unquestionable authority over his wife and children who have to obey his orders. He is the chief custodian of the family and ensures that it is secure. In certain countries, he not only decides what is to be done, but is involved in details such as shopping, even buying of clothes for his wife or wives, as the case may be, and that paragraph is done.
Okay, now let us only discuss that before we even go to the next one. Which points have been mentioned in terms of the roles of a father? Can we be able to extract some of them by show of hands from you who has been reading? Lois, what is your first point that you have identified? Yes, Lois? Okay, let me, yes, Lois?
The father ensures that the family is secure, and in certain countries, he also decides on what to be done.
So how many points have you mentioned?
I mentioned one only.
I wanted you to just identify one. You have already identified it, that he makes sure that his family is secure. So yeah. What we usually do when we reach there, let me see, where is that point? So this is the role, ensures that it is secure. You underline. This is how you do it. You can underline. Any other person who can identify another point by show of hands? Sache?
The father is the head of the family with unquestionable authority.
Thank you. We can just speak that one. The father is the head of the family. Is the head of the family. Just a minute. I did not want to cross that out. Is the head of the family. Next person. Oh, you had even added with unquestionable authorities, but you realize that maybe when we are doing the fair copy, we shall not need some of these. Next point in this paragraph, Sharon Shan. Sharon Shan. Some people put up their hands and yet there is no time and then they don't want to speak. Petronila. Yes.
In certain country, sorry. The father involves himself in details such as shopping.
Okay, so he's involved in details of shopping. My underlining is, I need a ruler here. He is involved in details of shopping. So I begin naming, this is point 1, point 2, point 3 here. I see here my point 4. Okay, so that's what you do. You can keep securing your points. Even buying, the other point is here. Buying clothes for his wife. That is yet another point. We can call that one point 5. You know, I'm just trying to show you how we can go about this. Let's go to the next paragraph. So now I have to undo. Okay, let us only use that one for now. Now, that is how, of course, there are other points. Because of time, I want to cut short. So you go on picking points like that. Then these points that you have picked from here, these are the points you transfer to your rough copy. Of course, time is not enough, but this, I will look at this, we shall continue with the same passage next week. So for those, I'm going to share this passage in our Google Classroom. For those who can complete summarizing the key points, then when we meet, we learn how to write a rough copy, and then we transition to a fair copy. So next lesson, that's what we shall be handling. Because of time, I will not continue, but at least I'm happy that we're able to pick out the points in this first paragraph, which is really a very good thing. So for those who have been able to attend today, I want to thank you so much. Let us keep our questions. For those who had questions, let us keep as many questions as we can. Even you keep looking out for more questions, so that when you come here, we can be able to share as a class. Maybe I can give a chance to one person to ask one question, and then we call it a day. So the first person to put up their hand, I can be able to. Sharon Shan, I think your network has issues.
My question is,
yes,
like in the paragraph itself, like remember it has to be one paragraph.
Yes.
So as I'm joining those points,
yes.
I join how many, like until I put a full stop? Should I put three sentences, then afterwards I put a full stop, or only 2? Because I'm confused right now, the comma, where to put the comma.
Okay, right now we haven't even reached there. We have started with how to derive, how to pick points. That is the first thing. Then when we are writing the rough copy and fair copy, that's what we shall look at. But I will let you know that the maximum number of points you can have in a sentence are 4. Those are the maximum. But usually you can have as few as 1, as few as 2. Do we underline the heading? Definitely, if we write in lowercase, we shall, just to highlight it, you can underline it. Please, because of time, let's keep all these burning questions. And then we can be able to do them next time. Otherwise, thank you so much for attending. God bless you all.
Bless you too.
Bye, teacher.
Bye.
Bye, teacher. Bye.